Hopefully we're live now.
I think we are.
They're all rocking in now.
Well, we've got some people, so that's a result. We're doing better than the castration webinar for horses. So,
Well, that didn't work.
we were limited attendees, I think.
Well, I think the CPD David organised is going really well.
Yeah, definitely. Right, cool, flattening out. So let's start. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is the first kind of team farm meeting with everyone. We just wanted to take a chance to update everyone who's involved with the farm side of IVC Evidentia about what's going on after the CD meetings that we had a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully everyone can hear me. We've got a Q&A thing that should be open. So if anyone's got any questions, please ask away. We've got a section at the end where you can kind of ask questions and give feedback. We're very open to everyone being honest because we will only get better if we know where we can improve, and it's nice to know where we're doing well. So I'll pass you over now to Jan, who is the group head of Farm and Equine. So, there we go.
Thank you very much, Andy, and thanks for coming along to this first meeting. We're really excited. I think we're really keen to inform you what we're doing behind the scenes for the whole farm group. So that's why I want to give this presentation. Bit about myself. I'm a graduate as a farm vet from Utrecht University in 2000, a long time ago. First went into practice in a mainly dairy practice, 4-man dairy practice in the eastern part of the Netherlands. All about dairy. Herd health was a big part of our job. Then went back to the uni in Utrecht University as well as a lecturer in the ambulatory clinic, and also did a PhD on mastitis. During my time at Utrecht University, I also applied for a job in Australia for a new vet school from the Charles Sturt University in Wagga Wagga. So I moved over to Australia for 5 years. We started a new vet school all from scratch, and 5 years later I got back to Europe, went back to the Netherlands, and we started on consultancy business in herd health and practice management, for especially for large animal practices. I looked up some signs. If you look at the internet, what's typical for the Netherlands, that's on the right hand side. So obviously the windmills, the bikes, the tubes, but there's a lot of got to do with the farming industry as well. You can see there's a cow, there's cheese, there's milk, and the wooden clocks, obviously. But yeah, so there's a lot of things in our country and hopefully in our IVC group related to farm. Next slide, please, Andy. So a while ago, we sat together with our strategic team and we said, okay, we're going to be being really serious about farm. IVC Evidentia is taking farm very seriously. What we're going to do with this, how we're going to actually come to some strategic objectives. So after a couple rounds, these are the 5 objectives we got for the group at the moment. So we really want to create a leading farm animal group for veterinary practices. That's across Europe, but also in the UK. This is really important to us, as well as Ireland, Republic of Ireland. We want to become the farm animal employer of choice. As you know, it's as these days, it's hard to find people who are interested in the industry or want to join the industry as a farm vet. So we're really taking care of that. It's one of the major topics for the next couple of years. At the moment, we're also developing and implementing a UK and European strategy. And on the practice level, that means, like yesterday, I was also talking to a French group. They're really interested to know each other, to share ideas, to share knowledge, to have exchange programs. Even for CPD at the moment, we're already running a program across the UK and the Netherlands. So that's for us. It's really important that we have a broad perspective across the whole of Europe. We want to future-proof farm animals from IVC Evidentia. It's not just we're going in and we form a group and that's it. It's something we want to. We will be in farming for the next decades, because we really strongly believe that farm animal is a profitable business and a very good business to be in, and that's for we put a lot of emphasis on the farm animal side. We also had a mission statement, and probably the word standing out in that statement is we want to have best practice for health, welfare, and productivity. That's the most important things for us, but we probably come back to that later as well. Next one, please, Andy. So there are a lot of farm animal practices already in the UK and the Netherlands. As you can see, in Ireland, and Northern Ireland, we spread out quite over the whole country. over 50, almost 60 clinics now in the United Kingdom and Ireland and Northern Ireland, about 21, 22 next week in the Netherlands. So our farm site is expanding quite rapidly at the moment. We're looking at different countries as well, which I will come back to a bit later as well. So how did it all started? I think in 2016, it was only 5 years ago, there were only 4 or 5 clinics joined us as far as for farm animal side. In the Netherlands, we only started 3 years ago. And at the moment, like as you say, in the United Kingdom, it's widespread all over the country, as the same as for the Netherlands. So we really want to build the momentum. So in total, in the UK, 57 clinics, over 400 vets, that's equivalent to over 200 FTEs. Northern Ireland, 10 clinics, Scotland, 16, England, 28, and Wales, 3. So at the moment, we talk to a lot of other people as well. So we serve about 50% of all the beef, and 15 of dairy as well, and in sheep side about 10%. So there's an awful lot we're already doing, but our ambition is still to grow the business. And the first thing we did last year is to have our own brand, a farm vet brand, which is part of FSC Evidentia, but we really need focus and we actually want to belong to a group. That's why we came up with the farm vet brand. Also, all the identity is like if you go to the London Vet Show or anything else, we really want to be like the farm is an outstanding brand for just the farm vets in the UK and probably across Europe the next couple of years. Also with identity, a couple of strap lines we developed, which we're going to use it in all our communication in the next couple of years. So it'll be really sustainable on animal welfare. It's the heart of our business. We're committed really to ensure a viable and enduring future for farming. To our farmers, to our clients, when say we are local experts still, but we still got the international network of knowledge. We can share ideas, training, CPD across the countries. So that's why we got such a large group of farm animal business and farm animal practices across various countries. So probably a strength is the size of our herd in the next few years. And our colleagues, not customers, we're part of your team. That's why we're here for, and that's why we're really serious about farm the next decades, as I said. So careers are very important. So we look after all stages from graduation to clinical director, and that links into either training or packages or what we can do for you. It varies on various levels. So that's why we're going to look in each practice. What do you need? How can we help you to drive your practice? And the last one, I think, yeah, that's it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. It's great for an update, and hopefully people can sort of see the size of the group and the ambition that we've got. I'll now hand over to Owen Jenkins, a face you may recognise from lots of marketing material across the group. So Owen.
Yeah, thanks. Similar sort of update from me, what we've been doing on the clinical board. This is the rogues gallery of who's on the board. We're all kind of clinical directors in practice, and this is this is what we do to kind of help support Team Farm, I suppose, within IVC. So myself, I'm the chair, and yeah, so we've kind of we're a group of CDs. So yeah, this is what we've been up to recently. We set up the career pathway group, where some of you might be on already. That's led by Tom and Laura, the group of young vets who are giving us some valuable insights in what this group of vets want to keep them within the group. So that's an excellent project going on. We're looking for volunteers to help with QI, this new initiative from the RCVS in terms of pushing quality assurance of our clinical work. So if anybody has got a real interest in this, give me a shout. Jill White has been re-elected onto the board, and we've got another board member who's about to join as well. So that's been a recent. We'll be having a 3-year rotation for board members, and yeah, we're always looking for people to join the board. MSD have been helping us out with some various projects. Hopefully you've joined in some of the CPD with the remote kind of scanning of lungs with the technology that they've got. Also, we're looking at the new tech projects that MSD are launching, so that's really exciting. We've been also discussing about direct debit payments for farmers, making the collection of their bills much easier. Another really important project is the EMS project. We're looking at formalizing EMS. I know it's kind of, we're all taking baby steps into getting students back in the car, but we see this as a really important project to get the next generation of farm vets to work within IVC. So keep your eye out on this. This is going to be a really exciting project. We've been helping out with IT. The next stage will be all going on to the same practice management software. At the moment, we've got lots of different practice management software up and down the country, and it's all very difficult to analyze what's going on within the group. So this is going to be a massive step in demonstrating how valuable we are as farm vets. So again, there'll be lots of training and advice on how to integrate this into practices. So nothing to be afraid of. I think it's going to really help us to be like a brand. And also the CPD, hopefully you've all had been on the recent CPD, that the feedback has been fantastic, really good speakers. So we're going to really try and listen to what people want and develop the next level of CPD. So your feedback on that would be appreciated as well. We're keen to understand how you want your CPD delivered, and I know we've been sat in front of computers for the last 18 months, but hopefully soon we'll all be able to meet up together and get CPD in person. So, but yeah, really interested to hear what people want. So let us know.
Brilliant. Thank you.
We've been very busy.
Don't go anywhere, because I'll need you for later. But on the subject of what people want and that kind of things, we think we're making plenty of noise about what's going on, but often the feedback is people aren't hearing what we're doing or aren't aware. So that's my exciting picture of some cows with some music being played to them. But we're really keen for everyone to know, and that's part of the reason for doing this meeting. If anyone wasn't aware, we've got a WhatsApp group for all farm staff. If you're particularly inclined, I'd be very grateful if you can open WhatsApp on your phone. If you click on photos at the bottom, camera, and then just hold the camera up to the screen, the QR code will allow you to join the group. So I'll pause for a minute to see if anyone wants to join, and if anyone's watching the recording and is not a part of the WhatsApp group, then feel free to pause the recording, scan the QR code. Excellent, 2 people have joined, so the system works. That's always a relief. I'm getting to the age now where I'm starting to worry about being left behind by technology. Jordan, so I'm pleased that's worked, thank you. We also have a Facebook group if anyone's on Facebook. The address for that's there. Again, if you just request to join the group and say which practice you're from, we'll include you in that. And finally, probably the least well attended area, but possibly the most important, is the intranet, which is an area where putting a lot of resource into centrally. We have a group there for farm practices as farm vets. There's a clinical discussion group. We set up a kind of beef, dairy and sheep discussion groups that we've got a few people in, but not a huge deal. And we're sort of hoping that those will grow over time. So please, if you are on the intranet and you are interested in any of the above, then join and get stuck in. We've got an app now as well, so you can get the app on your phone, which makes participating in the groups a lot easier. And the more people put in, the more we get out as a group. So it'll be great to have you all join in. I'll now pass over to Paul Horwood, who is our new farm animal GVA. Paul.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers, mate. Yeah, thanks for setting me up with the slide. You just said, "Oh, stick some photos on of you." So, hi everyone. Just a quickie, just to say hi. I joined about 4 or 5 weeks ago as one of the other GVAs alongside Dave. My background, I think I know quite a lot of you anyway, and I've been charging around the practices, saying hello to a few people over the last month, and will keep doing so. My background, I've qualified about 20 odd years ago from RVC, did an internship, and then after a bit of a trundle around the world, I then got involved at West Point Farm Vets as one of the owners, and then we grew that up over about sort of 14, 15 years. Along the way, I got my DBR, so I think I'm in good company with quite a few other people on the call today, before eventually selling to what eventually became Vet Partners via Origin. The last couple of years, I've been outside of clinical practice. I set up and built up a leadership and management training company in the City of London. Yeah, like I said, really keen and happy to be back in farm, having had a couple of years off. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you very much. It's great to have you in the team. I'll hand you over now to Dave Stockton, who you'll all be familiar with, who's our other GVA. David, I couldn't let you get away without a picture, so I did miss out.
Thank you very much, Andy. I've still got the and I didn't have as much choice about the photographs as Paul did. Can we move on, Andy? Oh, dear. Yeah, so just one, yeah, thanks for that. I'll get you back. Yeah, just one slide from me, just to, it's already, Owen's alluded to it, the summer CPD workshops. We just finished the last of the 3 weekly afternoons yesterday. So as I've seen a lot of familiar names attending this meeting who've been at them, but I reckon we've probably knocked up about 250 to 300 CPD hours with the attendees over their 9-hour lectures. So that's absolutely brilliant. We've had some, Owen alluded to some fantastic feedback in the autumn, early winter. So end of November, beginning of December, we've got, as we've got this there, an afternoon on nutrition, which is going to be cattle and sheep nutrition. So with the sheep, sort of associated nutritional problems, bovine reproduction, and a second afternoon lameness. And then in sort of late winter, early spring, that's the end of January, beginning of February, we've got an afternoon on communications. Actually, the first hour will coincide with not on these meetings, then a couple of hours separately on communications. Backyard poultry. It's all things great and small. So that's backyard poultry, camelids, and pigs as well. Just some basic stuff with pigs, making up 3. I think we'll then skip through to the plan to then skip the next quarter and go back to sort of June, July time. Very, very keen to get any feedback on subject matter, speakers. If you can let us know, we'll try and set it up. We're also working on just the tailored reception training. Sophie and I started working on that, along with work that I think is in conjunction with what Colin's been doing as well. I think that's it. Covered it, Andy.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll now hand over to Tom and Laura, if they are there, who, as Owen mentioned, the sort of career pathway group that's been formed. Tom is the chair and Laura is the vice chair. So hopefully Tom and or Laura, if you are there, I will pass over to you.
Hi, thanks, Andy. I hope you can hear me okay. Yes, I'm Tom. I'm the chair of the Farm Vet Career Pathway Group, and I'm a full-time vet up in the west coast of Scotland. And the vice chair is Laura, who's a vet, full-time farm vet in Somerset. So I guess the idea of this lot is just to raise awareness that a group like this exists within IVC. And I would just like to point out my email address at the bottom. If anybody's got any ideas or thoughts about the group, or has an opinion that they would like a voice for, or if they want to be part of the group, please just send me a message. But we're quite a new group. and a relatively small group. We've been in existence for 4 months, and there's 14 of us from a range of practices around the UK with different experiences, and I guess experience as well. We range from 2 to kind of 7, 8 year graduated vets. And we're a group that's serious about and has a passion for the future of farm work. And I guess the overall aim of the group is really to give young farm vets a voice, and for that voice to be listened to and actioned on by the wider group of IVC. And we're really trying to identify issues that are impacting your enjoyment of the job or your career. And we've already discussed retention issues, CPD ideas, career progression, career development. And I guess the aim is to progress into getting involved in farm group projects like AI courses, etc. So we have monthly catch-ups, or monthly to 6 week catch-ups, and from this we collate the information and hopefully present it concisely to the Farm Animal Clinical Board. We get a 10-15 minute slot there, and we try and get our opinions listened to, and hopefully spark some discussion around them as well. But yeah, so if you are interested in the group or have any ideas, please drop me an email or Laura an email. And thank you for listening. That's all I have.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tom. And it's been a great contribution from the group so far. We've got a really good update of the group working with the central group as well now, with an update on the academy in the CPD side from Julie Kaiser. So I'll hand over to Julie.
Hi everyone, I'm a vet too, and I've been working for the recruitment team, good Lord, the academy team for nearly 5 years now, and I'm really excited about the opportunities we've got for the farm vet and hopefully the team as well. We're looking at reception training. Andy, can you move on one more slide? I think this was from the other group. So the slide that I've got here is really a summary of how we can support career stages as a farm vet within IVC Evidensia. These are currently being finalised, and they will be on the intranet pages and linked to the farm vet pages as well. And these are both the internal and us signposting where externally you can have training within IVC Evidensia, or with partners that we're working with, like the University of Nottingham. We've got a degree apprenticeship that we can do. We can put our small animal vets through, and hopefully at some point the farm and equine vets as well. So yeah, so keep an eye out for, we'll let you know when this is on the intranet, but really this is signposting you through your career stages within IVC Evidensia. It's a summary of everything that can be available to you as a farm vet or as a mixed vet. So please get in touch. Academy support is our email if you want to be in touch with us. So lovely to hear from you, and obviously let us know if there's any queries. Okay, so that's it. That's all from me, Andy.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Julie. Now, a very important bit, I'll hand over to Paul.
Grant, thank you, Andy. Yeah, so just to say, yeah, well done, Jim. This one turns up a lot, doesn't it? Just to say, we really need your input on this. Andy's already mentioned about the Facebook group. We've got the Instagram group. What we really need is content coming in from you guys so that we can use it. If you've got any photos, I mean, we spend all day charging around in the beautiful countryside, looking at sheep, looking at cows, looking at pus and bits and pieces. Let's get some photos and you know, get them up there and just show off, you know, that at the end of the day, being a farm vet is a lot better than being a small or an equine vet. So if we just get all of that sort of content chucked out onto Facebook, onto Instagram, it would make a huge difference. Also, just PR wise, just getting involved in stories. There are a lot of other stuff going on out there in all the press, in all of the farmers stuff, in all of the veterinary press. But if we don't know, if centrally, and Trudy absolutely has just popped in the chat there, if Trudy doesn't know, she's got the links with the press, she's got the links with the veterinary and the farmer press. We don't know what's going on. If something great's happened, if you've had a really interesting case, you know, I read stories and see, you know, the small animal lot talk about you know, a funny looking dog, or it ate a funny little chew. Let's get some of that stuff from the farm side that we can then send out. If any of you are doing any sponsored walks or anything like that, if any of you are doing anything interesting, running a marathon, walking up a hill, etc., let's get a photo and let's get it into Trudy. If anyone sees any interesting cases, if you have to get involved with the fire brigade and drag a cow out of a drainage ditch or anything like that, you know, those are great stories which we can pump out and just show off you, your practice, and the IVC farm team. So, you know, the more we can get in there, sometimes quantity has a quality all of its own. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Paul. There's a really good example of this. We're very pleased to unveil the results of the Boehringer BVD Zero competition that we ran sort of back in this, well, kind of early, let's say January time. First place was Hans from Parkesser, Elaine from Brownlow in second, Hannah from Glenthorne in third, and finally Olivia from Chapelfield in fourth. And they were really great kind of case studies that were submitted, and these are going to be making their way into the press over the next kind of month or two. Julie and Trudy have done a great job of sort of polishing all this sort of stuff and doing the logo and all that kind of thing. So it'd be really great to as Paul says, sort of really sort of make some more noise. So yeah, well done to the winners, and we look forward to seeing more noise from IVC Evidensia Farm Vets over the coming months. Next slide, please. Owen, are you present?
I am.
Excellent.
So yeah, part of the great opportunity within IVC is our international reach. We did kind of embark on a project to do an exchange with our Dutch counterparts. This was in March 2020. Unfortunately, a pandemic hit, so we're kind of that's still on ice, but everything's in place. So you know, once green lights are given, we will be resuming this project. And now we've got Irish counterparts, German counterparts, and you know, Belgians and the French are coming as well. So anybody who would be interested in an exchange opportunity, please let us know. The plan previously was to spend a week in Holland, and then you kind of invite another colleague from the same practice back to your practice. So that was the idea, and a lot of the work behind the scenes was done from Penn centrally. So let us know if you're interested in this. We'll be keen to start this going again. This one for me?
Yes.
Yeah. And also we're trying to look into a kind of a mentoring scheme where we get assistance from different practices to kind of link up with CDs from other practices or experts in the field. So again, keep an eye out for this project where you know, I think there'll be an opportunity to exchange ideas, maybe vent in a more open forum than you can within your own practice, but you know, it's sharing ideas and helping young vets kind of to be the best vets they can be, really. So keep your eye out on this project.
That's from both angles as well, whether people want support from mentors, but also we'll need people to provide said mentoring.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in either aspect, then yeah, get in touch. And then finally, before we move on to some questions, another clinical board project, which is quite exciting. And Paul and Owen, I'll let you introduce the clinical working groups.
Yeah, so Paul and I met up the other day, and we were kind of looking at this idea of developing clinical working groups, for example, a mastitis or fertility, lameness, infectious disease. So the headlines are common headlines within the industry, where we're looking for people who are not necessarily experts, but enthusiastic about these areas. So we can develop best practice, and then we can share what we deem to be, areas of clinical success. And then this also then kind of feeds into looking at new products, software, initiatives that are happening in the industry. For example, lameness, mobility mentors, how do we roll this out within the group? So then these kind of expertise working groups will become the go-to areas to kind of review products and services, really. So we're looking for volunteers. The makeup will be, have a lead vet that will kind of feed into the clinical board, and we want everybody from CVs all the way down to new graduates on these groups. So it's not necessarily expertise, but it's kind of enthusiasm we want, and people who want to develop their clinical skills, really. So, and I think it'll look fantastic on a CV if you're part of these working groups. So the idea is that you would meet once a year, face to face, then virtually, then kind of as you deem fit, possibly quarterly, and then the chair of the group would report to the clinical board on what projects are going on, and then we would produce guidelines from the clinical board based on these outcomes. So yeah, some examples here: BVD vaccination, which one, why, use different ones in different situations, foot baths treatments, DD kind of prevention, what do we do with pneumonia in calves, lavages, serology, etc., and sync protocols for beef heifers that you could spend hours just discussing fertility issues. So anything else to add to that, Paul?
No, really, it's just a group of people who can go away, a small group of people who can go away and just do the evidence, and do the stuff that perhaps we don't all have time to do, all the evidence-based investigation for everything we could possibly come up with in our day-to-day jobs. So a small group of people could go away and just do that evidence-based learning, investigation, and come back with recommendations to the rest of us on the specific area: milk quality, or lameness, or reproduction, or young stock, or nutrition. It doesn't really matter which. And then they can then come back and give us some guidelines, or perhaps a flow chart, a decision-making flow chart, and that sort of thing. Again, 100%, the idea is not to come out with, you must do this. Definitely not. This is just to come up with some thoughts and some guidelines from your colleagues in IVC Farm who've gone away and done the evidence base. If you want to do something different, then great. Carry on doing it, whatever you want to do. All we'd ask is please, feedback into why the guidelines or the flow chart doesn't quite work for your situation on the farm that you were, and we can then tweak the protocols. So I suppose, if to be a little bit flippant, if you're not that interested in the area and you're a bit lazy, you could just pick up the protocol and go, brilliant, this is how I can approach this pneumonia outbreak on the farm. If you're really excited into it and you love it, then by all means go off piste and do things differently, but please feed back into that working group so that we can keep constantly making them that little bit better.
Sign up, we've got some interest already, so
great,
thank you. So yeah, here's an example of the early kind of structure. This can change, but they are kind of the common areas within our profession. So you can read it yourself, but lambs, alpacas, etc., young stock, reproduction, lameness, nutrition, infectious disease, and mastitis. So I know what I would pick and what I would avoid, but yeah, it's all about interest more than anything.
It really supports us centrally as well from a kind of product choice perspective, because we do have a buy list. I think it's reasonably kind of broad for people to use things, but it really helps us sort of hone in on the best products and things that people want to use. So, you know, quite often companies will approach me, and there's a lot of chat around added value, which people use to justify why they can't give us more discount. And you know, if they say Zoetis want to work on a project in young stock, then it's great for me as a kind of commercial person to have a team of people who are really interested in that area to kind of work on projects with them, and everyone feels good about doing that sort of stuff. So I'd encourage everyone to get involved. I'm sure there'll be some free lunches in it and stuff like that. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So I think that's pretty much it from us. We tried to keep it reasonably short and sweet rather than being death by PowerPoint. So if anyone's got any questions, please fire away in the Q&A. We'll hang around for a bit and try and sort of answer everything. If anyone's got any comments or feedback or anything really, we're here, and we'll loiter around in awkward silence until somebody puts something on the screen. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll make the recording available so colleagues who've missed it can catch up, and we'll see you at the next one, which will be just after Christmas. So thank you for your time, and we'll await any questions.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. We might do well. There might be no questions, in which case we've got to fly clean.
James asked a question about what sustainability is. I'll hand that over to Paul.
I think that was in response to the CPD query, wasn't it?
Yeah, possibly, but or maybe Jan's kind of introduction on as being a sustainable group. But sustainability is an interesting one. Kind of, I think it's all about having farms that not only environmentally sustainable but also business sustainable as well. That they're kind of adapting to the needs of modern consumers, I suppose, is what I would, as a broad brush on that one. Jim will tell me otherwise if I've got misunderstood.
There's a lot of levels to sustainability. I mean, we have a group head of sustainability now, so it's something that we're massively focusing on from a procurement side of things. So are the companies using to buy products from ethical and doing the right thing for the environment and all that kind of thing, which is really important. And then, as you say rightly, you know, sustainability in farming in general is really important, particularly with the environmental kind of angle and having sustainable businesses. So
and I'm just wondering if Jim was talking about us training ourselves up or getting training so that we can then deliver sustainable training to our farmers. I'm wondering if that was where you were aiming with that question.
There's all sorts of aspects to this, isn't there? I know, yeah, it's and we're waiting for Sarah Heath to give us the steer as an academy team. So we will be putting those on and be involved, but it's waiting for them to give us the guidance. But it will come next year.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you know, just the presentations that Andy and I called recently, and Owen may have been on them as well, from some of the pharmaceutical companies. There's a lot of slides now becoming angled when you're talking about you know, mastitis and BRD and all this sort of thing, about the increase in greenhouse gas emissions and everything else, and it's becoming a very, very topical thing, and a lot of research is being done. So I think it's a good area to just get into and be able to start talking in those terms. I see there was a question, Andy, from Elaine about the update on the subsidised calf respiratory screening package. Thanks for bringing it up, Elaine, and I can answer that. We had a meeting with MSD on Tuesday this week. We have one every week. Well, it was yesterday, and no, not yesterday, Tuesday. Yeah, sorry, we're Thursday. Are we Thursday or Wednesday? I've lost it.
Wednesday.
Yeah, God, dear. Yeah, the week has been like that. And we've literally now got everything finalised with SRUC MSD's compliance department, I don't know who they are or where they are in the world, but that took an awful long while. Basically now we've got a system where BBC can pay SIUC and then MSD repay MSD. So I'm hopeful that we will have it all in place. I'm hoping in the next just 2 or 3 weeks tops, and maybe even quicker than that. So it probably is going to be there for, you know, the autumn calving, but a little bit sooner if you've got some case to investigate before then.
Excellent, thank you very much. There's a few comments coming in around the sustainability side of things. One from Elaine Said saying it would be nice to lead the sustainable farming debate rather than responding, and I think yeah, we all agree with that, definitely. And Katerina has commented, so hi Katerina, I'm pleased you're able to join us to watch. There's a sustainability initiative coming out essentially, which will engage all of us in autumn, and there'll be training for everybody. So that's great to hear. I look forward to engaging in that when it arrives.
It might be another working group to add to the groups we were talking about earlier with, you know, mastitis, lameness. Sustainability might be a kind of an interesting working group to feed to the clinical board.
Absolutely. Katerina agrees, we need a group.
Good.
That's good.
Well, I think is it also just worth mentioning, Paul, that you and I were talking on that aspect with the funding for, you know, courses to you know, provide to farmers, which come into that sort of category, and you know, the I suppose the big shake-up of agriculture in the UK. We've been talking about that, haven't we?
Mm.
I don't think we've got any more questions, so keep an eye out for a little bit longer just in case anyone's being shy.
But these meetings really help us as a clinical board to kind of get the sense of what people want out there as well. So please kind of get in touch.
Perfect. I think we'll probably leave it there if there's no other questions. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Thank you to all the panelists, and yeah, look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.
I've got to work out how to end the meeting.
Leave button.
You need to stop recording as well, Anne.